You're a nobody, Emily. Get out and stop dragging us down. James Harper's shout cuts through the Seattle rain, venomous and raw. Emily Harper, 30, stands frozen in the dim living room, clutching her laptop. Its glow a faint shield. Her eyes burn with hurt, then defiance. Rain pounds the windows, amplifying the silence from Susan Harper, her mother who stares at the floor. Lauren James's wife smirks, filming on her phone. Instagram Live racking up views. Show us your big contributions, loser. Lauren sneers, her voice sharp. Emily steps forward, knocking bank statements onto the coffee table. You want proof, she snaps, voice cracking but fierce. I've been the one saving this family. James scoffs, but his eyes flicker with doubt. A flash drive glints in Emily's hand, a hidden ace. Thunder rumbles and her face hardens as she whispers, "You'll see what happens when I'm gone." The camera cuts to her late-night coding, hospital bills piling up Susan's cold glares. Tension crackles. She's ready to flip the script. Seattle's stormy skyline looms outside tech offices, glowing in the distance. This is Emily's world, where she landed after a San Francisco tech crash burned her out. A freelance data scientist, she pulls $85,000 a year. But Susan calls it wasting time online. Robert, her dad, fights chronic pain in the hospital. His $3,000 monthly bills covered by Emily plus the house payments. James and Lauren want her gone, thinking they'll take over. They're dead wrong, and tonight Emily's ready to prove it. The rain never stops in Seattle, a constant drumbeat against the windows of the Harper family home. A modest two-story house tucked in a suburban cul-de-sac. Inside, Emily Harper, 30, sits at the kitchen table, her laptop open to a spreadsheet of data analytics for a tech startup in Bellevue. Her fingers dance across the keys, crunching numbers that'll earn her $80,000 this year. The glow of the screen lights her tired eyes, but there's a spark of pride there too. She's built this freelance career from nothing, piecing it together after a San Francisco tech job chewed her up and spit her out 2 years ago. Burnout sent her back to this house, to her parents, to a life she thought she'd left behind. Across the room, Susan Harper, her mother, chops carrots for dinner with a rhythm that feels like judgment. "Emily, when are you going to get a real job?" Susan's voice is sharp, cutting through the hum of Emily's laptop fan, like James had before things went south. A proper office, a suit, not this computer nonsense. Emily bites her lip, swallowing the urge to snap. She's heard this 100 times. To Susan, a job means a cubicle, a commute, a nameplate, none of this work-from-home gig stuff. Emily tries to explain, her voice steady but strained. "Mom, I make good money. I'm analyzing data for companies like Amazon. It's real work." She pulls up her PayPal account, showing $6,000 in payments from last month. Susan glances, then snorts. "Numbers on a screen don't pay the bills, Emily. Your father's pension does that." Emily's stomach twists. Susan doesn't know the truth, and Emily's kept it that way. For the past year, Emily's been funneling $2,000 a month into her parents' bank account, $1,000 for the mortgage, $500 for utilities, $500 for groceries. It's her money, not Robert's pension, keeping the lights on. And then there's her father's medical bills. Robert Harper, once a sturdy electrician, now lies in a hospital bed across town, his back wrecked from years of labor. Chronic pain keeps him bedridden, and the $3,000 monthly bills for his treatment meds, physical therapy specialists, come straight from Emily's savings. She set up automatic transfers to the hospital, quiet and anonymous. so Susan wouldn't question it. Robert knows, though. He's the only one who does. Last week, Emily visited him at Seattle General, the sterile smell of antiseptic clinging to the air. Robert, pale but warm, took her hand. "You're doing more than they know." "Emma," he said, his voice rough but proud. "Don't let your mother's words get to you. She's just scared. Scared of what she doesn't understand." Emily nodded, but the weight of it all pressed on her chest. She's been carrying this family, but to Susan, she's just a disappointment, a 30-year-old mooch who never left home. Back in the kitchen, Susan keeps talking, oblivious. "You should be like James was. He had that law firm a corner office before, well before his troubles." James, Emily's older brother, is Susan's golden child even now. Fired from his firm for shady deals, he's been off the radar. But Susan clings to his old glory. Emily wants to scream that James's troubles cost the family thousands in legal fees, while her quiet work keeps them afloat. Instead, she closes her laptop. "I'm trying, Mom," she says, the words hollow. Susan huffs, turning back to her carrots. Emily retreats to her childhood bedroom, now her office, the walls still dotted with high school math trophies. She opens her banking app, checking the latest transfer to Robert's medical fund. $3,000 gone in a click. Her savings are down to $10,000, enough for a few months, but not forever. She could move out, rent a studio downtown, but leaving Robert feels wrong. He supported her through college, through her breakdown in San Francisco. Now it's her turn. But the constant judgment from Susan, the endless comparisons to James, gnaws at her. She's proving herself every day, but no one sees it. Downstairs, the phone rings. Susan answers, her voice brightening. "James?" "Oh, honey, it's been too long." Emily's heart sinks. She hears Susan say, "You and Lauren are coming to stay." "Of course, we'd love that." Emily stares at her laptop, a new email from a client, popping up, a $5,000 project, hers, if she can deliver by next week. She wants to focus, but dread creeps in. James and Lauren here in this house. She knows how they look at her, like she's a failure, a kid who never grew up. And Susan will only get worse with her precious son around. Emily takes a deep breath, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. She's been invisible too long. Something's got to give. The Harper house in Seattle feels smaller. With James and Lauren's arrival, their suitcases clogging the hallway, and their voices filling every corner. Emily Harper III works at her desk in her childhood bedroom, her laptop humming as she analyzes data for a $5,000 freelance project due in a week. The numbers blur. Her focus fractures with every shout from downstairs. James, her older brother, and his wife Lauren moved in 3 days ago, claiming they're here to help Mom cope, while Robert, Emily's father, battles chronic pain in the hospital. But Emily knows better. James, once a hotshot lawyer, got fired for fraud, and Lauren, a wannabe influencer, hasn't posted a sponsored ad in months. They're not here to help. They're here to coast. Downstairs, Susan Harper fusses over James, her voice syrupy. "You're looking so well, honey. That law firm didn't deserve you." Emily overhears Lauren chime in. "Yeah, James is on to bigger things now. Unlike some people who just sit around." The jab stings. Emily's been funneling $2,000 a month into the household mortgage, utilities, groceries, and $3,000 more for Robert's hospital bills. Her savings, once $10,000, are down to $7,000. She's carrying the family, but to Susan, James, and Lauren, she's invisible, a freeloader who plays on her computer. The tension spikes at dinner. Susan sets out a roast praising James's plans while ignoring Emily's plate. Lauren, scrolling her phone, says, Emily, you could at least help with the dishes since you're home all day. Emily grips her fork. I'm working, Lauren. I've got a deadline. James snorts, working. What, making spreadsheets for fun? Susan nods, adding, a real job would get you out of the house, Emily. You're 30. It's time. Emily's chest tightens. She wants to scream that her $80,000 a year freelance gig pays for the roast they're eating, but she swallows the words. Arguing's pointless. Susan never listens. Later, Emily visits Robert at Seattle General, the hospital's fluorescent lights harsh against his pale face. His back pain's worse. The doctors want a $10,000 surgery to stabilize his spine. Emily's already stretched thin, but she nods when Robert whispers, I hate being a burden, Em. She squeezes his hand. You're not Dad. I've got this. Back home, she takes on 2 more freelance contracts, pushing her work hours to 16 a day. Her eyes burn from staring at data sets, but the extra $8,000 will cover the surgery. She hides her stress wiring the first $5,000 to the hospital without telling Susan. The next morning, Lauren bangs on Emily's door at 7 a.m. Get up. We need breakfast made. Emily, already deep into a client report, snaps. I'm working, Lauren. Make it yourself. Lauren huffs, storming off, but not before accidentally knocking Emily's external hard drive off the desk. The drive holding her project files crashes to the floor. Emily's heart stops. She plugs it in, corrupted. Hours of work gone. She spends the day salvaging what she can, missing her deadline. The client pulls the $5,000 contract, leaving her scrambling. Lauren, unbothered, posts a TikTok about lazy roommates, her followers lapping it up. Susan's attitude worsens with James around. One evening, she corners Emily in the kitchen. You're not pulling your weight, Emily. James and Lauren are here to help, but you're just sitting there. Emily tries to explain, pulling up her bank app to show the $5,000 transfer for Robert's surgery. Mom, I'm paying for Dad's care. I'm covering the house. Look. Susan glances, then scoffs. That's just numbers. You're not fooling anyone. Are you on welfare or something? The accusation cuts deep. Emily's been honest, shown proof, but Susan's blind to it. Her faith in James unshakable. The real blow comes late one night. Emily, unable to sleep, overhears James on the phone in the living room. Yeah, once Emily's out, we'll sell the house, he says, his voice low. Mom's on board. We'll clear $400,000 fund my new venture. No one'll stop us. Emily freezes, her pulse racing. The house, her childhood home. Robert's pride is just a cash grab to James. She checks public records on her laptop. James has already contacted a realtor. Susan's complicity, her silence feels like betrayal. Emily's anger hardens into resolve. She's been propping up this family, but they're plotting to shove her out. The next day, Lauren escalates. She borrows Emily's laptop while Emily's at the hospital, claiming she needed it for content. When Emily returns, her client portal is logged out, and a critical email, a $3,000 project offer, is deleted. Lauren shrugs. Oops, you should lock your stuff. Emily's hands shake. She's losing ground, her work sabotaged. She confronts Susan, voice steady but desperate. Mom, I'm paying for everything. Dad's bills the house. James and Lauren are using you. They want to sell this place. Susan's eyes narrow. Don't talk about your brother like that. He's here for me. You're just jealous. The dismissal is a gut punch. Emily retreats to her room, her savings now at $4,000, her energy drained. At the hospital, Robert senses her strain. What's wrong, Em? asks his voice weak. She spills it all. James's plan, Lauren's sabotage, Susan's denial. Robert's face falls. I didn't know it was this bad. You don't have to stay in that house, Em. You're stronger than they know. His words are a lifeline, but the pressure's crushing her. Back home, James corners her in the hallway. Mom's tired of you mooching, Emily. Time to move out. Lauren chimes in, smirking. Yeah, we'll take care of things. You're not needed. Susan, watching, says nothing, her silence deafening. Emily lies awake that night, the rain relentless outside. Her laptop glows with a new client email, a $10,000 contract, her biggest yet. It's a chance to rebuild, but the house feels like a trap. James's plan to sell Lauren's sabotage. Susan's blindness, they're suffocating her. She's been the family's backbone, but they're breaking her. Her fingers hover over her banking app, the account tied to the household funds. She could pull the plug, expose their lies. The thought sparks something fierce in her. She's not invisible anymore. She's done being their doormat. The air in the Harper family home crackles with tension. The Seattle rain, a relentless roar against the windows. Emily Harper, 30, sits at the dining table, her laptop closed. For once, her hands clenched. Tonight's family meeting, called by James, her older brother, feels like an ambush. Susan, her mother, fusses over a tray of coffee, her eyes avoiding Emily's. James' disgraced lawyer turned schemer paces with a smug grin, while Lauren, his influencer wife, scrolls her phone, her manicured nails tapping. The room smells of Susan's overcooked lasagna, but no one's eating. Emily's heart pounds. She knows what's coming. She's been carrying this family $2,000 a month for household bills, $3,000 for her father, Robert's hospital care, $60,000 total over 2 years. But they're about to push her out. James clears his throat, his voice oily. Mom, Lauren and I have been talking. With Dad in the hospital, it's time to plan for the future. We're selling the house. He gestures grandly, as if unveiling a masterpiece. It'll fetch $400,000, enough to set Mom up in a condo and fund my new startup. It's the smart move. Susan nods, her lips tight. It's what's best, Emily. We can't keep this place forever. Emily's stomach lurches. This is her childhood home, Robert's pride, and James wants to gut it for cash. She overheard his plan weeks ago, sell the house, pocket the profits. But hearing it now, with Susan's blessing, feels like a knife. Lauren looks up from her phone, smirking. Emily, you're not exactly contributing, so maybe it's time you found somewhere else to crash. Your job can't compare to James's vision. The word job drips with scorn, mocking Emily's freelance data science work, which pulls 80,000 Oz a year. Susan piles on, her voice sharp. She's right. If you can't help more, you don't belong here. You're 30, Emily. Stop leaning on us. The accusation lands like a slap. Emily's been the one paying the mortgage, the utilities, Robert's $10,000 surgery, everything, while they call her a leech. Her anger, simmering for months, boils over. She stands, voice steady but blazing. You think I'm not contributing? Let me show you. She opens her laptop, connects it to the TV, and pulls up her banking app. The screen glows with transaction records, $60,000 in transfers over 2 years, $24,000 for the house, $36,000 for Robert's care. Susan gasps, her coffee mug trembling. James scoffs, but his face pales. You're faking this, Emily. Some Photoshop trick. Emily clicks to her PayPal account, showing $8,000 in client payments from last month alone. This is my work. I've been keeping this family afloat, while you plan to sell Dad's home for your scam startup. Susan stammers, "But your father's pension." Emily cuts her off, her voice rising. "Dad's pension barely covers his meds. I've paid for everything, his surgery, the electricity, your groceries. And you, James, you're not saving Mom. You're stealing her home." She turns to the TV displaying a realtor's email she hacked from James's laptop, proof he's been negotiating the sale behind their backs. The email quotes $400,000 with James listed as the sole beneficiary. Susan's hand flies to her mouth. Lauren, suddenly quiet, stops filming. James lunges forward, red-faced. "You're lying. You're just jealous. I'm taking charge." Emily doesn't flinch. She's done shrinking. "Then let's see how you take charge without me." She logs into the family bank account. Her account technically, since she set it up for the transfers, and moves $55,000, every cent she's contributed, minus Robert's medical fund, to her personal account. The TV shows the transfer complete, $0 balance. James's jaw drops. Susan whispers, "Emily, what have you done?" Emily's voice is ice. "I'm done being your ATM. Good luck paying the bills." The room erupts. James shouts, "You can't do this." "That's our money." Lauren screeches, "You're ruining everything." Susan tears, Welling pleads, "Emily, we're family." But Emily's heard enough. She grabs her laptop and storms to her room. Heart racing but resolute. She's not just leaving, she's exposing them. She opens LinkedIn, types a post. "My brother plans to sell our family home for his own gain, while I've paid $60,000 to keep it running. Seattle, don't let him scam you too." She attaches screenshots of the realtor's email, and her bank records tags local realtors and hits post. Within minutes, comments flood in, tech colleagues, neighbors, even a reporter. The post goes viral, shared 500 times by morning. Emily packs a duffel bag, clothes, laptop, flash drive with her work, and heads out into the rain. James bangs on her door, yelling, "You'll pay for this!" She ignores him, driving to a downtown Seattle loft she's rented with her last $4,000. The space is small, bare, but hers. She sets up her laptop, the city's skyline glittering through the window. Her phone buzzes with notifications. Her LinkedIn post has hit 10,000 views. A realtor comments, "We're blacklisting James Harper." Another offers to protect the house for Robert. Emily exhales, a weight lifting. She's not invisible anymore. The next day, she visits Robert at the hospital, his room brighter with morning light. She tells him everything, the confrontation, the money, the post. Robert's eyes shine with pride. "You stood up for yourself, Em. That's my girl." He grips her hand, weaker but warm. "Don't go back to that house. You're free now." Emily nods, tears pricking her eyes. Her phone pings a new client email, a $15,000 contract. She smiles. James, Lauren, and Susan are on their own, and for the first time, Emily feels unshackled. Back at the house, the fallout begins. James's startup pitch crumbles as investors see the LinkedIn post. Lauren's followers turn on her, her brand tainted. Susan, stunned, checks the bank account empty. The power bill due tomorrow looms. Emily's absence is a void they can't ignore. She's not just gone, she's rewritten their story. The rain keeps falling, but Emily's already in the clear, her future hers to build. Emily Harper's new life begins in a downtown Seattle loft, a small space with bare walls and a single window framing the city's skyline. The rain, ever present, taps softly now, a rhythm she finds soothing. At 30, she's free from the Harper family home, its suffocating judgment. and the weight of carrying her ungrateful family. Her laptop hums on a thrift store desk, open to a $120,000 contract with a major tech firm, her biggest yet. The deal secured after weeks of late-night pitches is proof of her worth. Something Susan, James, and Lauren never saw. Emily's savings, bolstered by the $55,000 she reclaimed, sit at $20,000, enough to breathe easy. She's not just surviving, she's thriving. The loft is her sanctuary, a far cry from her childhood bedroom, cluttered with Susan's expectations. She hangs a photo of her and Robert, her father, taken years ago at a Seahawks game, both grinning under blue and green scarves. Robert still in Seattle General, recovering from his $10,000 back surgery, fully funded by Emily, remains her anchor. She visits him daily, their bond stronger than ever. Today she brings coffee from a Pike Place roaster, the hospital room warm with their laughter. "You're a force, Em." Robert says, his voice steadier post-surgery. "I'm proud of you for walking away." Emily smiles, handing him a latte. "Couldn't have done it without you, Dad." He tells her he's leaving Susan, tired of her denial and James's schemes. He's moving to a nearby care facility, funded by his pension, close enough for Emily's visits. The decision lifts them both, a clean break from the past. Emily's LinkedIn post exposing James's plan to sell the family home still ripples through Seattle. It's hit 50,000 views, with comments from tech peers and locals praising her courage. A realtor group vows to block James's sale, ensuring the house stays in Robert's name. The post also lands Emily Freelance offers her inbox brimming with opportunity. She's no longer invisible. She's a name in Seattle's tech scene, respected for her skill and spine. Meanwhile, the Harper house unravels without Emily's support. James's startup, a flimsy app idea, collapses when investors, spooked by his exposed greed, pull funding. His calls to Emily, desperate for cash, come daily. "We didn't know you were paying for everything," he pleads, voice cracking. "Help us, Em. The utilities are cut off." Emily, calm but firm, cuts him off. "You wanted me gone, James. Figure it out." Lauren, whose Instagram following tanked after her role in the drama went viral, leaves James unable to handle the fallout. She moves to Portland, chasing a new brand that never materializes. Susan, humbled, takes a cashier job at a grocery store. Her pride shattered by the empty bank account. The house, once a haven, is cold and quiet. The power bill unpaid. Emily finds purpose beyond her family. At a Seattle tech meetup, she meets Mia, a 23-year-old coder struggling to convince her parents her freelance work counts. Mia's shy, her portfolio brimming with talent, but her confidence low. Emily sees herself in Mia's doubt and takes her under her wing. Over coffee at a Capitol Hill cafe, Emily shares her story: burnout, betrayal, triumph. "Your work defines you, Mia, not their opinions," she says, handing Mia a list of client leads. Mia's eyes light up, her first contract signed a week later. Mentoring Mia becomes Emily's way of giving back, a reminder of how far she's come. She starts a blog, Freelance Grit, sharing tips for gig workers, its posts gaining traction among Seattle's tech community. Robert's new care facility, a cozy spot near Lake Washington, becomes their meeting place. One sunny afternoon, rare for Seattle. Emily pushes his wheelchair along a trail, the lake sparkling. Robert, stronger now, talks about his electrician days, his dreams for Emily. "All I wanted was for you to be happy," he says. "You're doing that and more." Emily squeezes his shoulder, her heart full. She's planning a trip to San Francisco, not to relive her past, but to pitch a new client, a startup offering $50,000 for a 6-month project. The future feels wide open. Susan tries calling, once her voice shaky. "Emily, your father's upset. We're struggling. Can you help?" Emily's response is measured. "You're healthy, Mom. Work hard like I did. I'm done carrying you." She hangs up, no guilt lingering. Her boundaries, once porous, are steel. Word reaches her through a mutual friend, James, now. In a cramped apartment, bounces between low-paying gigs, his arrogance curbed. Susan's debts grow her spending habits unchecked. Emily feels a pang for her mother, but knows she can't fix her. Her focus is forward, her work, her father, her community. Emily's loft slowly fills with life, a plant from Mia, a framed certificate from a data science course, a Seahawks mug from Robert. Her blog hits 1,000 subscribers, and she's invited to speak at a tech conference. She's saving for a bigger place, maybe near the water where Robert can visit. Each night she codes under the city's glow, her fatigue replaced by purpose. The rain outside is just background noise. Now not a weight. She's built a life that's hers, grounded in her value, unshaken by those who doubted her. Emily Harper's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of a woman who turned betrayal into empowerment. From the suffocating walls of her Seattle family home, where her $8,000 a year freelance career was mocked as computer nonsense, to the freedom of her downtown loft, Emily proved her worth on her terms. She carried her family $60,000 in bills and medical costs, only to face scorn from her mother, Susan, brother James, and sister-in-law Lauren. When they tried to sell her father Robert's home, she fought back, exposing their lies with a viral LinkedIn post and reclaiming her life. Now thriving with a $120,000 contract and mentoring young coders like Mia, Emily shines. Her story isn't just drama, it's a roadmap for anyone underestimated. Here are the life lessons we can take from Emily's arc, woven with reflections from my own experiences. First, own your value. Emily's data science work was dismissed, much like friends I know in gig economies, writers, designers, coders, whose families call their hustle not real. Your worth isn't tied to others' approval. Believe in your skills like Emily did, even when no one else does. I've seen this in my circle of friends who built a 6-figure Etsy shop despite her parents' doubts. Trust your grind. Second, set firm boundaries. Emily's decision to cut off her family's funds and leave was gut-wrenching but necessary. Saying no to toxic dynamics, whether family, friends, or coworkers, is liberation. I learned this when I stopped overextending for people who didn't reciprocate. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're survival. Emily's "I'm done" to James's "please" is a model for us all. Third, build a support network. Robert's faith in Emily was her lifeline, grounding her when Susan's words cut deep. Find your cheerleaders, mentors, friends, even online communities, and be one for others, like Emily was for Mia. I've found strength in a writing group that lifts me up. We all need that. Nurture those connections. Finally, resilience wins. Emily's strategic moves, exposing James, securing contracts, mentoring Mia, show that persistence pays. Life's doubters will test you, but keep pushing. I've had moments of doubt, like when a project flopped, but grinding through led to better gigs. Emily's $120,000 deal came from refusing to quit. You can do the same. Emily's story resonates because it's ours too. Fighting to be seen, standing tall against dismissal. Have you been underestimated? Share your story in the comments. Let's inspire each other to rise like Emily and claim the lives we deserve.